Why don't skeletons argue with each other? Well, first of all, they don't have the backbone for it. And even if they did, their arguments would always fall apart. What do you call fake spaghetti? An impasta. It shows up at dinner parties pretending to be fettuccine, but it's always missing that saucy personality. What do you call a snowman on a hot day? A puddle. Poor guy didn't even get to say goodbye. One ray of sunshine, and he was history. What do you call a dog magician? A labracadabrador. It pulls rabbits out of hats, but only if there's a treat involved. Otherwise, good luck with the trick. Why don't astronauts ever get into arguments? Because in space, there's no room for drama. Besides, if they fought, things would just float away, like their patience. Why do ducks never fail at school? Because they're always quacking the right answers. Sure, they might wing it sometimes, but hey, it works. Why did the coffee file a police report? It got mugged. And no, it wasn't just a little latte drama. It's espresso serious. Why do frogs never overspend? Because they're good at riveting back on unnecessary expenses. They keep their wallets jumping, but their savings hopping. Why do shoelaces hate parties? Because they always get tied up in awkward situations. Seriously, one wrong step, and it's a total not-tastrophe. What do you call a lazy electrician? A light switcher. They're always taking the easy way out. Just don't expect them to be too current on their work. My sister's got hay fever. Now she's got diabetes, so I tried to cheer her up. You know, flowers, chocolates. About a month before he died, my grandfather, we covered his back with lard. After that, he went downhill very quickly. I think if I had unlimited money, I'd hire 2 private investigators and get them to follow each other. Why don't skeletons argue with each other? Well, first of all, they don't have the backbone for it. And even if they did, their arguments would always fall apart. A blonde ordered a pizza, and the clerk asked if he should cut it in 6 or 12 pieces. 6, please. I could never eat 12 pieces. As a group of robbers entered the bank, their leader went to the manager and asked him to open the vault. He threatened the manager by saying, "If you try to do anything smart, you're fiction." The manager was confused and asked him, "Don't you mean you are history?" The robber angrily replied back, "Do not change the subject, okay?" I was up in North London. I saw a guy in the high street with a guide dog and a white stick, and I went up to him. I went, "You must be blind." He said, "Tell me something I don't know." I said, "There's a tree over there." A lot of people like cats. Take the Pope, for example. I read recently that he was a cataholic. To the man on crutches dressed in camouflage who stole my wallet, you can hide, but you can't run. A racist man called me a terrorist for having long hair, a long beard, and being Middle Eastern. Later, I saw him at church giving a speech about how everyone needs a Middle Eastern guy with long hair and a beard in their lives. This amazing cab driver, he was driving a black cab. He was whistling, smiling clearly, having a brilliant time. He said, "I love my job. I am my own boss. Nobody tells me what to do." I said, "Left here." The school had a big problem with drugs, especially Class A. During a recent password audit, it was found that a blonde was using the following password: Mickey Minnie Pluto, Huey Louie Dewey, Donald Goofy Sacramento. When asked why such a long password, she said she was told that it had to be at least 8 characters long and include at least 1 capital. Britain's oldest woman turned 114 today. When asked the secret of her longevity, she attributed it to taking a walk at midnight every night. When quizzed on whether she was concerned about the increase in muggings in recent years, she said that she was not and would continue mugging people as long as her health holds out. Patient. Doc, my bum hurts. Doctor. Where specifically does it hurt? Patient. Right around the entrance. Doctor. Yeah, well, that's the exit. As long as you think it's an entrance, it'll continue to hurt. Most people are shocked when they find out how bad I am as an electrician. I have no problems with buying tampons. I am a fairly modern man, but apparently they're not a proper present. I can't believe I got fired from the calendar factory. All I did was take a day off. When the boys at school found out I had a potentially fatal peanut allergy, they used to hold me up against a wall and play Russian roulette with a bag of Revels. I phoned my dad the other day. He said you left the room before I finished speaking. I wanted you to go to Holland & Barrett and get me some tablets. Where are you now? I said, Holland. At college, I studied agriculture and communication, specializing in sheep. In the end, I came out with BAA. After that, I set up the British Sheep Census, but I fell asleep halfway through that. As a child, I watched Mary Poppins so many times I suffered from a condition with my sight. Diddle, iddle, iddle, diddle, I. I tried to get here by train today. They said today there's a bus replacement service, so I gave them a tin of pineapple chunks. They said, what's that? I said, that's my money replacement service. When I was a kid, I used to have an imaginary friend. I thought he went everywhere with me. I could talk to him and he could hear me, and he could grant me wishes and stuff too. But then I grew up and stopped going to church. I was by the seaside recently, and I was thinking about rising sea levels. And this guy next to me was throwing stones into the water. I thought that's not helping. I was on the bus the other day. Driver stopped, got off, wouldn't come back. Apparently some bloke with big teeth kept talking to him. Just burned 2,000 calories. That's the last time I leave brownies in the oven while I nap. My girlfriend and I are trying this whole long-distance relationship thing. I have to stay 100 feet away from her at all times. Also, the police say I should stop referring to her as my girlfriend. Most of my relatives are police marksmen, apart from my granddad, who was a bank robber. He died recently, surrounded by his family. My boss was honest with me today. He pulled up to work with his sweet new car this morning, and I complimented him on it. He replied, well, if you work hard, set goals, stay determined, and put in long hours, I can get an even better one next year. Overall, I'd say my career as a photographer has been a bit of a blur. My dad was a doctor. My mom was a nurse. They had 6 children. We all left home early. Well, they needed the beds. My daughter wants the new iPhone for her birthday. I told her she will get one as long as she has good grades, does her chores, and follows the house rules. Otherwise, she will get a cheaper phone. It's my way or the Huawei. My favorite road sign is falling rocks. What exactly am I supposed to do with that information? They may as well have a sign saying, "Random accidents ahead. Life's a lottery. Be lucky." My girlfriend said she wanted me to tease her, so I said, "All right, fatty." There was one time where I failed to perform sexually. My girlfriend said to me, "Oh, don't worry. It happens to a lot of guys." Okay, there are two things wrong with that. First of all, who are these other guys? And second of all, if it's happening to more than one of us, don't you think it could be your fault? "If there are any idiots in the room, will they please stand up?" said the sarcastic teacher. After a long silence, one freshman rose to his feet. "Now then, mister, why do you consider yourself an idiot?" inquired the teacher with a sneer. "Well, actually, I don't," said the student. "But I hate to see you standing up there all by yourself." I used to think sticks and stones could break my bones, but words could never hurt me, until I fell into a printing press. My mom told me the best time to ask my dad for anything was during sex. Not the best advice I had ever been given. I burst in through the bedroom door saying, "Can I have a new bike?" He was very upset. His secretary was surprisingly nice about it. I got the bike. A lady with a clipboard stopped me in the street and said, "Can you spare a few minutes for cancer research?" I said, "All right, but we're not going to get much done." The scariest thing that ever happened to me in my entire life was when I was very little. My dad said, "I'm just going to pop upstairs," and he went upstairs and he popped. One of the most awkward things that can happen in a pub is when your pint-to-toilet cycle gets synchronized with a complete stranger. I was in the park the other day watching an old man feed the birds, and after a while I thought to myself, I wonder how long he's been dead. I was in the library once when a man walked in asking for some ham and cheese. The librarian politely told him that he was in a library. The man first apologized and then whispered to the librarian, "Can I please have some ham and cheese?" My father always used to say, "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger," until the accident. You have to be careful watching television. You think to yourself, that bloke's better looking than me. He's got a better car than me, and he's got a cat called Jess. You ever dip your biscuit in your tea and it breaks? I swear now, you never get used to that.